everybody. I was appointed sometime in March to this position, and I started going along to Kelmscott in April. So I've been there for about a month, and I'm seeing it as my sort of introductory settling in period that I'm going to tell you about tonight. I'm in the brew house. So after visitors have been around the manor, they have the option to come and see me, and I think about a third, or maybe not quite a third, of people who come around come and visit me. So I've been described as a stained glass artist, and that's sort of what's in people's head, and that's what I've been doing in the brew house. On the table there you can see a window I've been making, but I think it's not really a very good description of what I do. So we've got an exhibition in the Marigold Room in the Manor of 3 commissions of previous work of mine. So I'm going to show you tonight what visitors will already have seen of my work before they come and see me. So I chose this as one of the 3 commissions to show people because it's local to Kelmscott. It's Carterton Leisure Centre. It's a public swimming pool, so some of the visitors have swum in it. I trained traditionally, initially at the Central School of Art and Design, and then after I learned how to make stained glass, the bit that interested me was painting on glass. So it was what you could do with a piece of glass. So all my work is enamelled. So it's ordinary window glass with a colour fired onto it. So I very quickly ditched the leading bit and just worked with I mean, it's sort of traditional, but you know, it's just pushing it in a different direction. So that's a sample of glass from that Carterton commission, which is in the Marigold Room. So people can see the luminosity of this enamel. So it's a very transparent material. It's ground glass, which is a superficial layer, but it is permanently on there. I have a lot of technical discussion with my visitors about these type of issues. And I've also got sketches showing how the work developed, because that's something that I really want people to be aware of, that most of the work is in the design side of it. And because a lot of my work is made in the factory, I spend most of my time designing rather than making anything. So this was showing how I arrived at that design for the swimming pool, and how I split up the window, working with the architect so that the window could be truly part of the architecture. So the second commission up there is for the premiere in Liverpool, and this is a much more recent commission. I did this a couple of years ago, and this is very big scale work in a very prominent site. And the commission came about because of the nature of the site. It's a corner in the historic area of Liverpool. So the council asked Premier Inn to make something of that part of the building. So they commissioned me to do a piece of work that again tries to be part of the building. So I worked with the architect before it was built to incorporate a design which is based, like a lot of my work is based on something that I got from the place. So I've shown these of the work being installed to give a sense of scale. So those are big panels of glass with the colour fired onto it and detail sandblasted out of it. And it is really exciting working on a big scale, seeing these things going in. So that's the glazing going outside. And often the visitors to the brew house are very excited, having seen, you know, this particular piece of work, and sort of thought about different possibilities for glass. And again, they're showing the thinking behind it. When I got to that area of Liverpool and was told that there was docks coming right up to the street, and I was sort of looking at what was there now, I just explored through looking at maps and piecing together. This is a collage of maps from various ages. I just scaled them up and down, rotated them, so I could work out where things were, where the famous rope walks were, and then tried to think of how to fit it into that facade. So this is sort of blocks, different colours for the different eras of each map. And then that's the design that I came up with in black and white, and then coloured. And often my work has got a lot of influences from nature in it, and I think it is because of looking at buildings and seeing how much plant motifs are used as to decorate buildings, and how that fits in with the local imagine now what that is. That's looking through the 2 layers of glass, so that's looking through the corner. So the enamel changes in different lights. So the browny colour is green in other lights, and the white lines are sandblasted out of the enamel. And I think there's an opportunity to ask questions at the end, but I don't mind if anybody wants to ask me anything they do, if I get it. So that's inside, looking through the glass. And then the last commission is in Dorset County Hospital, and it's a screen in the endoscopy department. I do lots of commissions for hospitals. The first public commission I ever did was for a hospital. And again, that's something that has influenced my work, because there is a great desire to have images from the world around brought into the building. So often that's the brief. It's to make, this was for a waiting room, to make it a more pleasurable experience for people sitting there, to take their mind off what they're doing and to make references to the local area. So that is something that I'm asked to do when I'm commissioned, but it is something that the part of my work that I really like is going around and visiting places and trying to get the essence of the place into the work. And it really helps with the whole thing of being commissioned, that people can see that you have looked and you hasn't just popped out of your head, that it is relevant to the place. And I've got, this is all work that's on display in the Marigold room. So this shows what I was looking at for Dorchester. So it was Maiden Castle, and it was trying to get the sort of feel of the chalky landscape. And then below, what I was saying about the way that plants are used in decoration. So various things that I'd looked at in the town that then influenced my design. So this one was made in my studio. So the piece of glass is 2 meters tall, and the colour is sprayed on and painted by hand. And the other slide showed the back of the screen. So these things are required to work from both sides, different light conditions, and different times of night and day. So that's those 3. And then we're back to the brew house. So I've got in there on the mantelpiece a sample from that last commission, which is quite a good link, so people can handle the piece of the glass. As I was saying, they're quite fascinated by the idea of sort of moving the technique on, that you can do all different things with glass. I get lots of technical people that know a lot about glass and that are interested in new developments with the material. So that's, but most of the glass is thick piece of the glass that I can't do much with. But I also end up from my process with loads of scraps, sort of like a material scrap box of thin, small bits of glass that were my samples, or things that broke or went wrong. And I collect them in that big red box at the back was full of glass. So periodically I chop them all up and lead them together. So I thought that would be a good project that I could do in the brew house to start me off. And I've got, this is an example of one which I've got showing people the process of how to make a stained glass window. So this is all the stages that you go through, and the pieces of glass have been painted or stained, or stained is one of those things that doesn't really mean what people think it means. So I have a lot of discussion about what stained glass actually is with people as well. And then the window that I'm making, chopping them up in quite a simple way to make this window here, which I've now finished. So the patchwork thing is, there's a history to all these pieces that I'm going to put up with it. So for instance, the top left and bottom right were colour samples for a commission I had on the Outer Hebrides. So like a patchwork quilt, I think that makes it more interesting knowing about those pieces. So I'm writing that up at the moment. And the idea for this piece was that it's the size of a fan light, so it'll go above the front door, and it will be auctioned. Hopefully someone will want it. So that took me longer than I thought, because of, obviously, while I'm doing it, people are coming in and talking, that's the leading bit. And yeah, so then, I mean, they are really, I can remember everything people are saying. There are fascinating people coming around and incredibly positive people. And glass is good because normally people really like it. So it just, you can make something really simple out of glass and it looks really attractive and it draws people towards it. And there is also a huge hobby market in glass. So there are lots of people who make things themselves, and I really want to show people different ways of doing things, try and persuade them that sometimes you can do something really simple and it looks good. That's one of the main things I'm trying to get across. So I've got lots of examples around the brew house of things I've looked at, and the other inspiration, obviously, other than the patchwork, is the way that stained glass in churches has been re-leaded. So normally it's been put together in a different way from how it was initially intended to be put together. So this in Kelmscott Church, which is St George, medieval St George, the way that it's just shoved into those diamonds I find really quite attractive, and it's also very good to persuading people that traditional glass is painted, which has been quite a sticking point over the years. And then this one from Inglesham Church, which I mean, certainly don't think I'm completely obsessed with the technique. I've no idea how this arrived like that, how the glass got to be in that state, but I thought that looked absolutely fantastic. And then the next project I've thought of doing, which is going to be even more hands-on for people. When I went to the Red House, there's the chopped up sort of 2 sets of windows, and then there's the internal door where people have scratched their names on this very nice sort of pale glass. So I want to get a project going where people can leave their name on it, and I've already, about once a day, I can see that someone's itching to cut a piece of glass, so I've been making sure that I let people do that if they want to. So I'm going to do that a bit more and have the window going on at the same time so that people can do the cutting and leading and put their name on it, and then we end up with a sort of even more participatory thing. As I was saying, I do really like the whole hobby, hands-on side of stained glass. I think there's a lot of potential that I want to try and work out how I can use over the next few months. And I haven't been asked to make a programme, so I can do it project by project, which is great. And then the other side of it is the drawing that I've been doing. So every day I start off with drawing, which is what I would really like to do for the rest of my life, really. So, and I've just got things that I've drawn hanging up. And it's only children that have done drawing so far that have come in, so I make sure that I have the materials there. And this one, this was the best drawer that I've had, was a boy on the first day that, I mean, when he showed me the drawing, it wasn't at all obvious that it was the privy, but I think it's got all the elements perfectly in there. And then the second one was even better. When he brought the drawing and was amazed that I didn't know what it was, he said it's the ram. Because I said, oh, go and find something interesting around to draw, like, the sort of thing that I'm looking at interesting corners. So again, I thought that was a really good drawing of that ram and then the yellow sign next to it. And that was just such a great thing to want to draw. So I found that quite inspiring. So the things that I'd be looking at are, I haven't really ventured much out of the manor. I often draw a combination of nature and buildings. I was saying how the two go together. And then often how the architectural details, in this case the handles, are often more curly, the plants are straight and the metalwork's going mad, or there's sort of bits of decoration which are much more violent than the sort of nature that's restrained. Yes, and then I walk down to the river and I just look back at the manor from there. So one from inside and then one from outside. The sort of the triangles I'm very into at the moment, and it's partly inspired by this set of photographs which was upstairs wheeling round the manor in the 70s in the
sunshine. So there's the sort of shapes of it in combination with the trees and the proximity of the river. So those are my main things I'm looking at the moment. And obviously the trees and the rooks. So the other thing, project that I was just going to show quickly at the end, because the day after I was appointed to be artist in residence here, I was also shortlisted for a commission which had been in the pipeline at the same time. So I've got to get my design in next week for a new hospital in Liverpool. So that's following on from the other Liverpool commission I did. So they're knocking down the Royal in Liverpool and building a new hospital which is going to look like that. The commission I've been shortlisted for is glass for the south. I think I'll better circle that because it's just there. Is that right? Yes. So that is going to be the main entrance, and it's got no definition to it because they don't like canopies anymore because people smoke underneath them. So the commission is to do a design for that, which I've got as far as this, and what I'm looking at is the sort of layers in the city and the patterns that I've seen from walking around and even going the tunnels under the city. But also because it's for a hospital and they want to be seen as a centre of excellence. It's supposed to have a new way of looking at medicine and a new way of helping people. It's supposed to have a very forward-looking sort of dynamic to it. So the challenge for me is how to get my love of pattern making into a sort of thing that looks forward-looking rather than backward-looking. So that's my design so far for the north entrance, and the south entrance, which is on the other side of this massive building, which again is a whole load of glazing here. Half of it is transparent glass, and half of it is cladding, so it's going to be opaque colour. So my design for that one so far is like that and that. So I'm going to take those drawings along when I go back to the brew house on Saturday and put them up, and then give that as another thing for people to talk about after they've seen the work that's on display there. So that's my last slide.